Eddie Evergreen stepped carefully into the tunnel beneath the ridge. Harper Lane stayed beside him, focused on her tablet as she tracked the changes around them, which was fitting, as she was the brains behind their navigation. Her tablet, displaying a glowing compass, was their only guide. They had followed its strange signal for days, leading them to this hidden entrance carved into the side of the mountain. The tunnel walls curved inward, smooth as polished glass. It wasn't a natural cave. It had been shaped with incredible precision, the work of someone or something with immense skill. As they ventured deeper, the air grew still and heavy, pressing against them with a silent, ancient weight. It was the kind of quiet that you could feel in your bones, a silence that had lasted for centuries, waiting to be broken. Eddie led the way, his gaze fixed on the reflection of the compass's light dancing on the stone walls. With each step he took, faint, intricate markings shimmered into existence on the walls around them, glowing with a soft, ethereal light. They looked like a cross between complex circuitry and ancient hieroglyphs. But as soon as they moved past a section, the symbols would fade back into the stone, disappearing as if they had never been there at all. Scarpa, ever the analyst, paused to scan the transient patterns with her tablet, her brow furrowed in concentration. "These symbols aren't permanent," she whispered, her voice barely disturbing the profound silence. "They're reactive. They only appear when someone is present. Like the tunnel is waking up just for us." Eddie nodded, a thrill of discovery mixing with a knot of apprehension in his stomach. This place felt important, powerful. It wasn't just a cave, it was a mechanism. The tunnel continued for what felt like an eternity, before finally opening into a vast, circular chamber. The space was immense, hidden deep within the heart of the rock. The ceiling rose so high above them that it vanished into an impenetrable darkness, making the chamber feel like an underground cathedral. The air here was even heavier, charged with a palpable energy that made the hair on their arms stand on end. At the very center of this grand hall stood a single, circular platform made of the same smooth, dark stone as the walls. It was completely bare, without any markings or decorations. It just sat there, waiting. Drawn by an instinct he couldn't explain, Eddie walked toward the platform. The space felt expectant, as if the chamber itself was holding its breath. He hesitated for a moment at the edge, then took a single, decisive step onto it. The moment his foot made contact, the chamber came alive. Thin, brilliant lines of light erupted from the stone beneath him, spreading out like a spiderweb across the floor. They raced across the chamber, climbing the walls in a dazzling display of light and geometry. The light wasn't just on the surface. It seemed to come from within the stone itself. Simultaneously, the compass in Eddie's hand, which had guided them here, flared with an intense, blinding light before steadying, its needle now pointing directly down into the platform he stood on. Harper gasped as her tablet also reacted, its screen filling with a flood of unfamiliar patterns and complex data that perfectly mirrored the glowing lines. Now illuminating the chamber, she stared at her screen, then at the pulsating room, a look of dawning realization on her face. "Eddie, this place. It isn't guiding us anymore," she said, her voice filled with awe. "It's waiting for us. It's waiting for us to decide what happens next." Eddie looked around the chamber. The glowing lines formed countless potential pathways, intersections, and nodes. But there were no doors, no hallways, no visible way, forward or out. There was only the platform beneath his feet and the silent, watching chamber. He felt like a key that had just been placed in a very, very old lock. To test Harper's theory, he stepped off the platform. Instantly, the light vanished. The chamber plunged back into near darkness, the ancient silence rushing back in to fill the void. The only light was the dim glow from their compass and tablet. It was as if nothing had ever happened. The chamber was dormant again. Hey. Eddie stepped back onto the platform. The effect was immediate and even more powerful this time. The lines of light flared back to life, brighter and more vibrant than before. They pulsed with a steady, rhythmic beat, like a slow, stone heart. Harper watched, her eyes wide behind her glasses. She nodded slowly, her mind racing to process the new information. It only reacts when someone is standing on it, she confirmed. It's a trigger. A point of activation. Eddie looked at the compass in his hand one last time, its needle still pointing resolutely downward. Then he looked at Harper, a new sense of purpose solidifying in his expression. This wasn't just a discovery. It was a responsibility. This chamber wasn't a dead end or a checkpoint. It was a beginning. Then this is our choice to make, he said, his voice firm and clear. He placed both feet firmly in the center of the platform, planting himself as if growing roots into the stone. He was committing to whatever came next. The chamber answered his commitment. The stone beneath him shifted, not with a violent lurch, but with a smooth, silent precision. A hidden seam, previously invisible, appeared around the edge of the platform, pulsing with an intense inner light. Vents from somewhere deep within the mountain. A low, powerful hum began, the sound of ancient, colossal machinery stirring from a long slumber. Gears that hadn't turned in millennia began to move. The waiting was over. Whatever this place was, whatever it was built for, had finally been unlocked. A new path was about to be revealed. Thanks for watching.